There is something I want to clarify really quickly before starting the video. In my title, when I say how strong is Raiden Shogun, I'm actually talking about A, but during the video, I'll be calling A by her name and referring to the puppet as Raiden Shogun instead, because I bring both of them up separately. Anyways, let's get on with the video. If you aren't able to tell already, A is one of my favorite characters in Genshin Impact. Her design, voice, and playstyle are all aspects of her that I enjoy a lot. But the one thing, if it isn't obvious, that stands out is how powerful she really is. In today's video, I'll be going over A's feats in the story and lore of Genshin, along with her speed and durability as well. As always, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and comment to help support the channel, and if you all enjoy the video and want to leave your thoughts and opinions down below. And with that out of the way, let's get started with the video. So the first thing to note is that I did talk about A recently a bit in my How Strong is Venti video. If you haven't seen that video, please go check it out. The link will be down below in the description. And although I did mention some things she did briefly, in this video I want to expand on some of those things and talk about other things that I hadn't had time to talk about before, so that we can get a gauge of how strong she really is. To get started, I want to talk about her feat that she performed against Urabashi, the Snake God, since that feat is one many people use to give a gauge of how strong she really is. And it's also one of her best feats to date. A with her Muso no Hitotachi slashed Urabashi and split an island into two, and created the Musajin Gorge. This is the highest AP feat we have so far in the story, and we'll be using this as her baseline AP. I'm going to be talking about the Raiden Shogun, which is the puppet that A created to rule Inazuma in her stead. The puppet and A should be equal in strength, since the puppet is an exact copy of her, and the feats the puppet performs, A can do as well. But to continue, the Muso no Hitotachi is strong. Like, if you all don't know how strong, let me name some more feats that she's done with it. Aside from cleaving an island and a snake that was almost the same size as said island, the Shogun one-shotted La Senora, who was a Fatui Harbinger, and who was strong enough to overpower Venti and take his gnosis. She also boxed with Inazuma Traveler, who was pretty strong. Inazuma Traveler, when he first fought A, also got one-shotted as well. The Shogun was so strong that she fear-hacks the Traveler into completely giving up on even trying to battle against her. I feel as though some people will use this to say that the Shogun is stronger than A, even during this moment, and I'll be talking about these two fighting later in the video. But to address this point, I'd like to show you all A's character stories, which are some random and key moments of a character's backstory within the game. In A's character story 2, it says, and I quote, "In theory, this puppet could perfectly imitate everything about A. It could surpass the limits of her lifespan and defend Inazuma forever. Yet how could creating a copy of an Archon be a simple affair?" End quote. It says how the puppet could imitate everything about an Archon, which should include its strength. And another point to prove this is A's fight with the Shogun in the end of the Honorific Eunathymia. Because A had changed her view on eternity, A had to fight the Shogun to prove her ideals were the right one compared to before. When A first made the Shogun fall to her knees, she got back up and stated that her martial prowess had dulled or grown weaker.
彼女は魔網に対抗するために生まれました。意志に関しては、彼女は生きとし生けるものの頂点に立つでしょう。
When the Traveler returns again to the space, 500 years have passed within it, and A and the Shogun were still battling each other, and were completely equal to each other. The Shogun stated her will hasn't wavered in 500 years, and the Shogun then evolves into an even stronger form, and A still manages to trade blows and even defeat her in the end. Not to mention that the Shogun says how the energy that they've both outputted from battling each other is great enough to vaporize oceans. The normal amount of heat needed for water to reach a boiling point is 100 degrees Celsius, and the amount of joules needed for vaporization is 2,260 joules per gram, or this number that you're seeing here on screen is an equivalent. You can either take this statement as hyperbolic, since the Shogun says right after how the energy they consumed can also turn day into night. If you want to ignore that and just say that the energy they've both clashed with is enough to vaporize oceans, then you can do that. For the video, we'll just say that the statement isn't hyperbolic and just not use the day and night sentence after it. Anyways, back to the other point from earlier, this should be enough evidence to show that A and the Shogun are equal to each other in terms of power, and pretty much all other stats for that matter. This is impressive because throughout the story, the Traveler has always been shown to be completely fearless and strong-willed. He battled against Storm Terror and Dvalin, who is one of the four winds that protects Mondstadt. He fought Osio, who was one of the gods that participated in the Archon War, although it was nerfed because it was awakened with fake Adepti sigils by Tartaglia, and even fought against A the first time, as I mentioned previously, although he lost. Some theories I can think of about this is that either the Shogun or A were so strong in that moment that the Traveler felt it was hopeless to go against her or her blade, or her one-shotting La Senora, who the Traveler probably believed to have been a pretty strong opponent. Getting dealt with that easily demotivated him. I'm not really sure, but to continue, A then fights the Traveler again and has the upper hand until the Traveler summons Miko, and she tells the Traveler to use the ambitions of everyone who had their visions taken during the Vision Hunt decree. And with the amp the Traveler receives from the people, he ends up defeating A. The fact it took the Traveler to get an amp from an entire nation to beat her in and of itself is impressive, and really goes to show how powerful she really is. It's also worth mentioning that A has never been in possession of her gnosis at all during or even before the game. The gnosis is an item that gives her a connection to Celestia and heavily increases the power and proficiency of elemental abilities. We can assume that the power increase of a gnosis that it gives is pretty substantial, since when Vinci had his gnosis taken, he had to recharge his elemental energy by going to the Great Tree of Vanessa, where before he was fighting Davala with the Traveler and a few others. And when Zhongli lost his gnosis, he only retained a minimal portion of his powers. I also want to mention that if you level up Zhongli to level 90, he has a voice line where he says that the power that he once had with his gnosis, which should be his full power, had returned. The voice lines of characters leveling up should be canon to an extent, so do with that as you will. And lastly, she has the power to command and control thunder and lightning all across the vat, so there is that as well. And now that I've gone over A's AP, let's get into her speed. A's been stated multiple times from different sources to be the power of thunder incarnate. Her official description from the Genshin website says how she has the terrible power of thunder incarnate. And A herself, in one of her voice lines, says how she is the most supreme and terrifying incarnation of lightning there is. This should be supported due to the information I said right before this. And this means that the feat that Razor and Lisa summoning storm clouds, natural lightning bolts, should apply to A, although greater since she's the incarnation of lightning itself, and should be way faster and stronger than both Lisa and Razor combined. There isn't much else to talk about, and she should be just as fast as an Ambition Amp Traveler. There isn't much else to talk about with her speed since she's concretely around hypersonic levels of speed, so I'll leave that up to you so that you all can have your own interpretations and opinions down below. When it comes to her durability, I don't think it's a stretch to say that she's a tank. We know she took part in the Archon War to some degree, so she probably took blows from many of the gods that she faced. She fought against Orobashi, fought against Inazuma Traveler and Ambition Amped Inazuma Traveler. She fought against the Shogun for 500 years straight, and even defeated the Shogun when she evolved and gained even more power. And that's pretty much all there is to talk about for A. She is deserving of the title of Archon for a reason, as all the current Archons we know of, especially in their prime, have some crazy feats. I'm not sure if I'll do more videos on the other Archons. Though. We'll have to wait and see, to be honest. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and comment if you enjoyed the video, or just have some thoughts and opinions you would like to share. Thank you all for watching the video, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care.